Okay, so last video we got our removal items modeled. Before we get going on this next one, which is going to be on base course widening and subbase, I just want to point out, on this particular job that we're developing or was built, in this particular case, we ended up paying for both the gutter removal and any existing base course, basically any kind of pavement or gutter that was within our limits. We really just paid for that as a special pay item, just included it all as one. And if we were using this for quantity purposes, we would want to get that feature definition set and get the component set in the same way that we would be paying for it, on this particular job, so we get accurate quantities. And so let's see. Yeah, we used let's see. There should be a special pay item. Oh, there it is. P. Pavement removal special. And so what I did was I just went in and expanded that component that we developed in the last video. And really, to do that, I just inserted a few points. I can show you that as we get going on the base course and the subbase. Yeah, so you can see that it now includes both. All you do is just right-click or left-click on the component, right-click, and click Insert New Point. And it's the pavement removal pay item here that I want to modify, and that's all I did. Just to expand it to include both the widening, the resurfacing that was on top of the widening, the curb and gutter, basically anything that was beyond 9 feet. We went with all new. So we just paid for that removal as one because, in the field, that's the way they would do it. In this particular case, with the gutter being overlaid, they're just going to saw cut at 9 foot and then just remove everything at once. So that's why we went with one pay item. Okay, let's move on to base course widening. Thankfully, in the IDOT standards library, we do have components for what we need here. And so let's see, let's find pavement, proposed, HMA for the widening, and base course. I guess it doesn't say specifically base course widening, which, it was the pay item in this case, but that's okay. We'll just go ahead and use this. No, not a problem. Okay. So we're just going to take and, snap to that point right there. So that's where we want it to be. And then we've got this old wedge here. We're not going to need that for what we're doing because, like we said, we're going to saw cut this. So we just delete components. And there, the wedge is gone. And now we just want to move this point over. And so we're going to change our constraints. So let's just go horizontally from the center line. We want to be out 9 feet. Oh, can't do that yet. We'll come back to that. And then we'll use a vector offset of between this point and this point. And go 0. And then, I see the deal here. I think I probably needed a -9. There we go. So that's good. And then for the base course widening, we would just check to see what kind of thickness we need to go with on this project. I think it was 9. Yeah, right there. Base course widening, 9 inches. And so there we can just double click on the point. We're going to change that thickness to vector offset. And again, that's going to be from this point to, could be any of the points on that plane. It's going to be 0.75 for 9 inches thick. And then over here, we could do the same. Multiple ways really you could go about doing this, but this will work. Vector offset 0.75. And then what you might want to do, if you thought you might be using parametric constraints, then you might want to see where it says by default in the library HMA base course thickness right there. You could go over to all points that make up that base course thickness and add that label that was used. So right there. And the advantage to doing that is that then in the future, if it turns out that, oh no, we don't want 9 inches of base course thickness, we want 11 inches or something like that, then rather than having to go into each point, in those cases, all you do is in the corridor, you would go in and you'll see that we have, where's it at? In condition display rules, parametric constraints right there. And so you just go into your parametric constraint, which was HMA base binder. No, base course. Oh, I think I grabbed the wrong one. That's okay. You'll see, you'll get the idea. So both this point and that point would have the same label. Then when you right click on it, you select edit. Then you only change that value one time. That's what I was getting at. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so that's the base course. Now, in this particular case, like I mentioned, we didn't use the highway standard for the type A gutter. And in fact, I don't think I've ever used the highway standard for type A gutter. Generally, what I've seen is that, the contractor places the sub base and then both the base course and the gutter set right on top of that. Or, you could pay for that separately. You could probably save some money if you paid for it maybe by the ton. Use a ag, what is it? Sub-base type C, I think. Ton item. You could, either way. In our particular case, we just went with all concrete down to the sub-base. So we just grab that point right there. And we want this point to be right there, right? So we just vertically say we want it right there. We type in 0, and it drops down. Okay, next, let's see. We want to drop this side of the gutter down. And so, let's see, I think we'll do probably the same thing there. Let's see. Actually, let's do it this way. So many different ways you could do this. Okay, we will go vector, offset, and really we just want it to be in line with that. In this point, at 0, they'll drop it down. We could come down. I don't know that we need that point. If you needed it, you could move that too. I'm just going to delete it. And there we go. So now at least our type A gutters where we want it to be. We didn't know when we first placed it there, what that thickness was going to be. That's kind of dependent upon the base course thickness. And so next we can go ahead and add our sub base. So again, we're going to go back to, no, we don't need to create a new. We'll just go back to the IDOT library, and we'll go to possibly, yeah, there we go. Ag subbase 1. And we'll bring this in. I think I'll reflect it maybe. And we'll just go with that, which is great. And then for this point, we could use that vector offset again and just say we want it just to be in line with these points. And then horizontally, In our case, we chose to go with 1 foot. Goes beyond that. So you see that vary in some cases, but we went with 1 foot. Okay, what's next here? Should be our subbase thickness. And actually, you see it's already set at what, 6 inches, but on this job, I believe it was 0.25. It was only 4. So I changed it there, but like I was saying earlier, as long as what I could have done, as long as both of those points that represent the thickness of the subbase had that label, I really could have just come over here and went to active template, parametric constraints, and then found that ag and edited it. And so when I set that to 0.25, it would have actually changed both of those points just like that. So that's, as you work on this more and more, you figure out ways to become more efficient. And that's a good one. Okay, so let's go ahead and save this. We'll close out. Check that template back in. And we will sync up our template. And there we go. You can see both, in the 3D model, of course, as we do this work, work in 2D, get 3D for free, as Bentley says. That's exactly what you're seeing over there. There's the base course. You can see that gutter removal item. Maybe I would turn that off for now. I don't know. If it seems distracting to you, it's on top of itself because that's where it's at. You can see that in the cross section, of course. We see the removal item and we see the proposed. But you get the idea here. You can see that we've got the proper base course thickness. And you can see there's a subbase. You can see it down here in the cross section view that extends beyond, the gutter, that amount. Let's see. Check, see if I have all the levels turned on here. I'm not sure if I do or not. Yeah, good. Okay, so that's exactly what we're looking for. So that is the end of base course, widening, and ag subbase.